Night, Episode 7.
Dice Tower Cruise, Thoughts, and Other Stuff. That's not a very strong title, is it?
And other stuff? Sure. Welcome to Dice Tower Tonight, a video cast about board games and card games, and especially the people who play them. On tonight's show, Tom and I play show and tell with a few recent games, recap our adventures at sea on the Dice Tower Cruise, and then take your questions live. I'm Eric Summerer, and here's your host, the Frosty the Snowman of board gaming, Tom Vassell.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dice Tower Tonight. This is a show in which me and Eric just get together and talk each night, once every 2 weeks, actually. But we've seen a lot of each other. It's only been less than a week since we said goodbye. Well, about almost exactly a week, actually.
Just about, yeah.
Did I see you Thursday morning?
No. You guys disappeared. I don't know where you were hiding in the morning.
Hang on 1 second.
Yeah.
Eric, why don't you tell people why we saw each other a week ago?
We saw each other a week ago because we were on the Dice Tower Cruise. We had a lovely time at sea, and we were floating, playing board games, having a grand old time. And now Tom is, I don't know what he did. Was that a costume change?
No, I shut the doors.
Oh,
it's a Dice Tower thing, you know?
Yes. Okay. Yes. It's like, where'd you just left me alone? I want to know what all the boxes are behind you.
Oh, yeah. This is not games.
Oh, okay.
This is my Christmas shopping.
Got it. No, we've done that as well. By the time we got back from the cruise, we realized that there's like 2 weeks till Christmas. And yeah, we've been doing a lot of online shopping as well.
I got 7 Christmas lists. Well, 6. My son doesn't write one.
Yeah.
So I just took them. They already look on Amazon to look for everything. Yep. Amazon is my shop of choice. So you can see half it's Amazon Prime. I had to make sure that they were going to get here in time. Yep. There is not a single board game in that mix. No one No one wrote board game down at all for a gift.
No? Huh.
It's kind of like living in a chocolate factory. You don't ask for chocolate.
I guess that's true. I'm hoping to get the boys each a game. Although I'm also tying it to a pre-order for the Pandemic Rising Tide game. So they might not get here in time. I'm not making any promises for games for the kids.
What, for Rising Tide?
Yeah, well, Rising Tide is supposed to be out on the 21st of December.
Wow.
I'm hoping it gets here in time. We'll see.
Where are you getting that information from?
That's what Cool Stuff says.
One moment.
That was what it said when I pre-ordered.
They're not sure. Last I checked with the Asmodee, they were not sure about the release date. Later this month or very early in January.
Well, maybe it'll be an after Christmas gift then.
I'm trying to ruin Eric's Christmas.
I know. Well, we have other things.
Did you put any games in your Christmas list?
I mean, I always have a wish list going, but I didn't specifically ask for anything that I'm dying to get. No. Steph did play Rising Tide on the cruise and really enjoyed it, so that's on her list of things to get. But I don't know if I put anything.
It's actually pretty short.
Yeah,
it's hats, socks, and soaps / bath bombs / stuff for the tub. I like that sort of thing.
Okay, well that's
pretty much it.
Simple. Yeah,
I don't really have anything else I don't know. I never put games on my Christmas list. Are you kidding me?
I have enough games to play right now.
Yeah. So speaking of games, let's get to games, and then we'll talk more about this other stuff. Maybe we'll make our topic next week Christmas shopping. That sounds like a good thing.
Ooh. Maybe.
Because is that next week? No, we'll talk about Christmas the week after Christmas.
Yes.
I keep forgetting it's not a weekly show. But anyhow, folks, we're going to be talking here, and if you've never done one of these shows before, we'll talk to each other. And if you have any questions or anything, you can ask them. And if it relates to what we're talking about, we'll talk back to you a little bit as you're watching this. So we're going to start with some games. I'm going to go first. No, I'm going to go last. Eric, you're first.
Okay. I'm going to start with Palaces. This is a game from Guerrilla Games by Jeff Siadek. I saw this
game.
I saw this years ago at Gamma. This is one of the early deck builders following Dominion, I want to say. But they took a long time to come out with it. I think I finally got this in my hand at Essen. It is a deck builder in which you start out with basic resources. There's 4 different resources: crystal, gold, jade, and one other that crystal, gold, jade, and silver. That's it. You start out with a deck full of these basic resources. You draw 4 into your hand. That's how the game starts. And then there will be 3 cards that are more advanced versions of those resources. One of those is up for bid. Whoever the starting player is chooses one of those and says, this is up for bid. Then you do a once-around auction in which you bid cards from your hand trying to acquire that card. And there's a ranking of these resources. Gold is above silver, which is above crystal, which is above jade. And so more cards beats fewer cards, but the ranking of those resources will break tie. So if I bid 3 gold and a silver, it will beat 3 jade and a silver, basically. You also have to include the card that's up for bid as part of your bid. A little confusing, but it's one of your resources that you can bid with. If you win, you not only get to trigger the card that you just won, but also any other special cards you used to win the bid. And you also get one of these building resources, which are here in this bag. These are little stacking. Let me take a couple out. They're easier to see. You're building 2 towers. Ultimately,
those
that's
can't
the game.
Stop?
Not quite. They're close, I guess. They're plastic, and they stack. And so, here we go. Here is my stack. You get to try to eat it? I'm not feeding you, Tom.
No, I'm not. I'm not hungry. I am hungry, but okay. I'm not. No, I just that looks like prototype stuff.
It's not. I mean, they're not that cool. You are building 2 towers, so you can build your first tower however you want. So if I want a gold resource, I get a gold piece to add to my tower. Makes sense. I can build my first tower however I want, but I have to build the second tower identical to the first. And my score at the end of the game is the lower tower, the smaller tower. So now I'm sort of locked into winning certain resources, playing cards that get me certain building pieces that will help me build my second tower to match my first tower. And this continues until either one of the resources is gone, one of the tower pieces is gone, or you completely exhaust one of the stacks. There's 3 stacks of these cards you're bidding on, and that ends the game. Whoever has the tallest, shortest tower wins. It is, it's certainly different. You've got this sort of strange bidding mechanism that's a little hard to wrap your head around at first. And the building mechanism is neat. Where you're trying to you can build whatever you want for your tall tower, but then you really need a crystal piece, and you may play a card that gives you a benefit and also gives a benefit to everybody else. It's not quite as good as yours because they need to build certain resources. It's more complex than it seems at first. I almost wish there were a few more cards, more variety in the special cards you get to draw. There's a bunch. There's like 36, and you play with 12 in each of the stacks. I'm not quite as enamored as I was hoping for. When I've been waiting for this for so long, it wasn't quite as amazing as I was hoping for, but that bid is kind of cool.
It's a negative review.
That it wasn't quite as good as it was.
No, it's not that it's not as quite as good as you're saying. It's just that there are so many deck building games out there. Is this in the top 20?
It might be barely in the top 20.
And that's only if you've only played 20 total.
It is a little wonky. Yeah. I'm happy that it's out. I'm happy that I've gotten to try it.
Wait, so this just came out?
This just came out. Yeah.
That looks like a game that came out in the 90s or 80s even.
It's a very small box game. I mean, Guerrilla Games, other than their big one, Battle Stations, their stuff really isn't very...
Their new Battle Stations looks amazing.
I think they poured a lot of resources into that.
All right.
Because I mean, it's a very small box, too. Look how thin that is. I enjoy its portability, its novelty, but yeah, you're right. It doesn't really stand out as anything particularly fantastic. That's
Someone asked,
Palaces.
They said, with all the deck builders out there, do you guys see the market as getting too crowded? Not really. I don't think that many deck builders come out these days. There was a lot when Dominion came out. Now they're kind of, we see it, I don't know, maybe 5 a year.
Yeah.
Not many.
I don't. It's not like I immediately will throw something out because it's a deck builder. If it does something interesting, I'll be interested. And this is certainly different. That the auction bidding thing is different. But yeah,
It might be, but that production itself just automatically is like, ah. It was
it's a little disappointing.
This actual argument came up today because I was complaining about the look of a game, right? And some guy said, "Tom, you shouldn't criticize a game based on its looks." He said, you wouldn't do that with spaghetti sauce. This was his example was spaghetti sauce. And he said that if you go and eat spaghetti sauce and it doesn't look good at all but tastes good, you're okay with that. And my response to that is the worst analogy to use, because the way food looks really does matter.
Yeah, it does.
If I just come and plop some stew on your plate and it's like, blah, and it might look awful and it might taste good, but that's going to kind of kill it a little bit. Here's an example. If you don't think that matters, put food coloring in milk. Make like yellow milk and give it to somebody. It doesn't do anything to that milk. Have them drink it. Tell me if they enjoy it. You don't see this anywhere except in Star Wars and blue milk. Star Wars is starting in 2 days.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. So, what is the new zombies?
What is the new zombies?
Yes.
It's not generic fantasy, is it? Oh, cats! Cats!
Holy cow! How many cat games are there these days? I don't get it. I mean, it's clear that cats are inferior to dogs. Why aren't we seeing more dog games? Anyway, I'm talking about Cat Lady here, which I don't think is like the most. The rule book's like, players take on the role of cat ladies, part of an elite group of people involving Marie Antoinette and Ernest Hemingway.
Cat Lady?
I don't want to be part of that group. Anyhow, so in this game, you have a bunch of cat cards. So we have cat toys, and we have food for cats. That's tuna, in case you couldn't tell. And then we have cats. This is Chairman Meow.
Nice.
And then there's also a bunch of food tokens that match tuna, chicken, and milk, because milk apparently comes in square boxes. So you're going to set these cards up in a 3x3 grid. See that there?
I do.
You're going to place some cards like that. And when it's your turn, you're going to take a whole column or a whole row of cards. You just take them in your hand. You then put this cat token next to that row and column, and the next person can't take those cards. And you just keep doing that until you run through the whole deck. And at the end of the game, you're going to get points. Like if I have this cat here, Zeus Zoroaster, whatever his name is, this guy here will give me 2 points for each costume that I have. But I need to have fed him. So this guy needs 2 chicken food. So I need to have taken a card that gives me 2 chickens. You need to take the cards that give them to you. Like this is just a normal cat here. Sparkle's worth 3 points. But you need to get 2 food, 2 tuna, or Sparkle's worth -2. All cats are worth -2 if you can't feed them, and they're worth various points if you can. Costumes are worth points depending on how many different ones you have. There's costumes, which you should never put on the cat. Whoever has the most of them gets 6 victory points, and whoever has none loses 2 victory points. So does this scoring remind you of another game? So Sushi Go is what Eric was about to say.
Yes, Sushi Go.
It really does that. And there's even like 3 stray cats that are next to the board that you can take. These are like really cool cats that do different things. And you have to take cat wanted posters or lost cat posters, and you get 2 of these. You can trade them in for a stray cat. So the game is essentially a drafting game. It's actually very similar to Sushi Go, but instead of drafting around the table, you're pulling 3 cards up from this grid in the middle.
Okay.
Not a huge fan of the presentation. The cat artwork it's okay. This artwork's okay. But I do like the drafting thing. I mean, this is like a literal sequel to Sushi Go in a sense. This is a game I can see selling a lot if you can get past the name. I'm not talking about the cat thing. The cats are fine. Okay, well, not fine, but I understand why people like them. But Cat Lady seems like it's not the kind of game I'm like, ooh, let's play Cat Lady.
Mm-hmm.
But the game is really quick. 2, 3, 4, 5 players. Scales very well. So I highly recommend this one. It's a really nice light game from AEG Cat Lady, designed and illustrated by Josh Wood.
Ah, all right. Well, let's talk about some nice illustrations here. This is Reiner Knizia's King's Road. This is actually a reworking of a design that I think appeared in a magazine. It was hard to get. This was not a readily available design from Knizia. This is from Grail Games, new edition of King's Road. It is a area majority game. You've got this lovely Vincent Dutré artwork board.
Best artist in the business.
And it's got, let me actually rotate this so that the camera can see it. You've got all these different zones on the board. And
Wizard's
there's a
Tower.
king. There is a tower. There's several towers, actually. Wizard's Tower and King's Altar. And they are worth varying amounts of points if that particular zone scores. Very simple area majority sort of thing. There is a king that travels around in a circle from zone to
That's
zone.
how kings travel.
They do. They travel in a circle. They always go clockwise. And you have a whole bunch of cards in your hand that represent the different zones. So, you've got the keep, and where's that Wizard's Tower card? Right here. Ta-da! Sort of glaring there. You also have a couple of special cards. You're going to program 3 of these face down at the beginning of a round, and then you'll flip them up one by one, and most of the time, if you play one of the zones, you'll just place one of your tokens in that zone, putting influence in that area. If you play, let's see, the knight will let you place an additional influence in the zone you played before playing the knight. If you play the witch, you get to take all of your cards back and wait to see what everybody else does in the round and then play your 3 cards. And the dragon scores not only the zone that the king is in, but also the next zone in sequence, sort of messing up the order in which things are going to happen and possibly surprising your opponents. You'll get almost all of these back in your hand every time you play 3. You get them all back except for, it looks like, the dragon you can only play once during the game, and the witch you can only play once during the game. Everything else you get back, and you continue this until somebody scores a certain number of points. I think it's based on number of players. But it's something like 20 or 30 points. And then you do one more scoring round, going all the way around. Oh, I should mention that when an area scores, all of the tokens come off the board in that zone, except for the player who won. They get 1 token, sort of like a ruler figure, that gets to stick around and help them in future majority battles. But once the game is triggered, game end is triggered, you go one more time around the board and score everything again. And this is the part that I was totally not ready for. This game ends quickly. This is not a long game. And you really need to prepare for that final scoring. Because if you've been just following the king around and trying to score points as quickly as you can as he moves around, if other players have been sticking 1 or 2 guys in the other areas of the board before endgame happens, then they're going to score a heaping amount of points in that final once around. And you don't want that to happen. I don't know if I was enamored with it. I think that the pace seemed off because it ended so quickly. And I don't know if there's a whole lot of ways that you could prevent that from happening, from that, the speed of the game coming so fast. I felt like this should be a longer game. That I needed to prep more, to lay more groundwork. You get bonuses for connecting your rulers along paths, and really the king only went around like 1.5 times around the board, so we didn't get to see a lot of this network building come to fruition in our game. And also we just weren't ready for that final scoring, and the guy who had a couple of things out just cleaned up, and that was a little surprising. I think the artwork is lovely and almost too good.
The boundaries could be better defined on the board.
They could be. There are dotted lines. They're sort of hard to see here, but it's not too bad. You just cluster your figures around the illustrations. It's not it's not that confusing, at least. And the road is easy to see where the king travels along. It doesn't need to be that crazy of a map. The king just goes in a circle. It could have been a lot simpler. So I guess I got to give them credit for fully illustrating this and adding some flair to it. But it's almost too good for the mechanisms, I think. That is the King's Road, or just King's Road from Grail Game.
All right. So what theme is the new zombies?
I'm going to say...
Kill cats! All right. Just want to point that out. All right. So now we're talking about Battle Kittens.
Uh-huh.
This is from Ultra Pro Entertainment. Actually, it's from Up Your Game, which is not... I know what they're trying to say.
Right. That's almost a nasty thing to say to somebody.
Yeah, it's like that old 7-Up commercial. So in this game, you are going to be fighting over some areas. Think like zones in Smash Up that give points for first, second, and third place. You're going to be doing that by getting these kittens here. Aww. So this guy here is, I can't read it backwards, Inigo.
I don't want to attack that cat.
Well, no, you're going to use this cat to attack another cat.
Wait, that's Inigo? Like Inigo Montoya?
Well, I don't know who it's like, but this guy has 4 stats. You see, he has strength of 0. He has stealth of 2 or agility of 2, wisdom of 2, and cuteness of 1. I'm not really sure how you do cuteness. Like here, for example, Queso has a cuteness of 3. Is he that cute? I don't know. I actually like this artwork better than the other cat game.
Yeah.
So in this game, you have 7 of these cats, and each round, and you see 3 battle zones, and it tells you the stats that in 2 of the battle zones. Like in this battle zone, it's strength, and in this battle zone, it's agility. And the third battle zone, there's a card there, but you don't know what it is, so that you know it's either wisdom or cuteness. It's one of the 2 that it's not face up. So then you get 7 cats. You draw 1, and then pass them around, and you keep doing this so everyone has 7 cats. You then take these 7 cats and divide them as to where they're going to go, which of the battlefields. But before you do that, you flip over the last battlefield and the last stat so you know what it is. You send out the cats, you reveal them all at the same time. Whoever has the highest strength gets points. In this game, points are fish tokens. And then you do it all over again. You do it 3 times, and most points wins. Some of the cats have special abilities. Some of the cats have a chain in the corner of them. That means they break ties. Some cats have a flag in the bottom of them. That means this guy here is a green flag. So every other cat with a green background, he gets a +1 for that. Some cats will show, well, I'm not finding any of them. So let's, come on, cats. Here, kitty. Still not finding one. Come on, cats. I know you're in there. They show a ball of yarn. That means draw another cat and add it to that pile, which could be good or bad. And then some cats have a crown on them. And when you have a crown, you can choose to draw a king's will card or a king card. But the king is capricious. There's 7 cards in this deck. You draw 1. 4 of them will help your cat out. 1 is neutral, and 2 hurt your cat. Like 1 makes his stats go up. 1 makes his stats go down. 1 makes you lose all your cats except that cat. You know, so it's up to you to decide what to do with that. And that's the whole game. It's drafting. Now, I think the game is good. I don't think it's great. Part of the reason I don't think it's great is because, you know, for a really tiny game, this is like a wall of text in a small rule book.
Yeah.
Secondly, the drafting is not that interesting. It's like, oh, here's a bunch of cats with stats. I'll take the ones that are high. You know, and the stats that are out there. And then if I can't get the stats that are out there, I'll take one that's high in one of the other 2 stats. It's not that big of a deal. Splitting them up and sending them out, that's a little more interesting, but it's more of a very, very light drafting game. There's not like hard choices, and there's definitely not hate drafting. You're just drafting and having fun. It's a light game. I liked it. My kids liked it. That's Battle Kittens.
All right. Yeah. Well, we are almost to Christmas, as we've been talking about, which means the Doctor Who Christmas special. So, thematically,
quick question here.
Yes.
Let's talk about Doctor Who briefly.
Okay.
Are you caught up on Doctor Who?
Yes.
I'm not. In fact, just a few days ago, we watched the last 2 Christmas specials in a row. Was there no season of Doctor Who between those 2 specials?
The Yes, there was a season of Doctor Who in between the last two Christmas specials.
There was the Wives of River Song, the Husbands of River Song,
Okay.
and then there was the superhero one.
Yes.
They felt like they were run right after the other.
Well,
really
yeah,
did.
they're sort of standalone. They don't usually have too much plot going on.
Well, I
like
was actually going to
overarching.
say they were. If I look at them as a episode, which I do, because they're just like a slightly longer episode.
Right.
I thought they were some of the best I've ever seen. They got me excited about the new Doctor Who. That I know there's a new. I mean, I knew there's a new companion.
Right.
I forget the name of the new companion. Billy, I think.
Bill. Yep.
Bill. It looks really fun, and I know that there's now a new Doctor Who, and it's really weird because I'm like, all right, Doctor Who's a woman, and my daughters are like, Doctor Who is a man. It's like, should this like be the other argument around? And they're like, you just don't change some things. I'm like, all right, whatever. Maybe they'll come around. They didn't like when Doctor Who got old either. You know, they don't like, my kids just don't like change.
They don't. So yeah. Okay, I get it.
Anyway, sorry, that was our brief aside on Doctor Who. That's what happens on Dice Tower tonight. We talk about whatever we want.
Yeah, we're full of it's Dice Tower tangents tonight.
Ooh, that's a good. I'm changing the name.
Oh no, don't do that. So yes, Flux, card game with ever-changing rules. The object is to acquire a set of keepers, the green cards that add up to a goal, and you are basically playing cards to change those rules, to change the goals, all sorts of stuff. The keepers in this version are the various doctors from the universe. There is the 9th Doctor. You got the 4th Doctor. There's even a future Doctor. I guess they couldn't get Jodie Whittaker's image yet. There is the future Doctor. They are numbered. There's companions like River Song. There's stuff like the Scarf. There's the TARDIS. And then the creepers, the nasty stuff in this version of the game, are the bad guys. Daleks, Cybermen, Weeping Angels. Sometimes the goals require one of the bad guys. The angels have the phone box. You need the TARDIS and Weeping Angels. The interesting stuff about this version of the game, in addition to just being Doctor Who, because those doctors are numbered, they can do some cool stuff like a regeneration goal. You need 2 consecutive doctors in order to win. They do some cool time-related actions, like a time portal that lets you search either the discard pile or the draw deck, either the future or the past, and get a card that you need. They also have one of the new rules you can put out in the game, which forces only one doctor to be on the table at once. So if I have 10 on the table and you play 11, my 10 goes away. Doctors can knock out Daleks. A lot of the keepers and the companions have special rules that allow them to combine with other things. It is different from basic Flux for sure, and it feels very thematic as Flux can be. As far as these versions go, I really enjoy this one. I'm already a fan of Doctor Who, and I appreciate the references. But I think this one mechanically is interesting as well. So as the Fluxes go, this one is higher in that echelon. Doctor Who Flux, I'm a fan.
All right, Eric, what is the news? No, I'm not going
to. Do you have another cat game?
No, well, actually, there's a cat in this game.
Okay.
No, but listen, here's what. Today I decided to get rid of a game.
Ooh.
It doesn't happen very often that I get rid of a game, but I'm getting rid of Tales of Arabian Nights.
Ah, okay.
Now, why am I getting rid of Tales of Arabian Nights, you might wonder?
Because Near and Far is that awesome?
Near and Far is that awesome, but Near and Far isn't. It has great stories wrapped around a really great game, but it's not just about the stories, right? The thing I like about Tales of Arabian Nights is there's these great stories. Well, Legacy of Dragonholt.
Oh?
Yes. Legacy of Dragonholt. Actually, I wonder how to get rid of this. Okay, but anyway. Did it make it go away yet? No?
No, I'm still looking at your screen.
Oh, okay, I see it. Okay, so Legacy of Dragonholt here, and you can see it. This is the Board Game Geek page. I left it at work. We just did a live play of this earlier today. It was our second time through. So the way that this works, this game, is it comes with several books. And this is actually pretty cool. I think I will show these books here for you too.
Sure.
I'm doing this new, screen share thing.
Just make sure you don't have anything incriminating on the screen when you do so.
I'm only showing what's on that one window. Anyhow, so if you look here, this is what the game comes with. So if you look at the bottom there, you'll on the table itself, you see that there's a map of the city of Dragonholt. There's a few item cards. There's 2 rule books. One is a very, very, very small rule book. One is a character creation guide. And one is a very, very thick book. That Dragonholt Village is a pretty thick book. And then there are 6 other books around the outside. Now, when you start the game, you're going to take that one book called 2 New Roads. And essentially, that's going to be an adventure that gets you to the village. You then are going to be using the village book, and that's going to, as far as I can tell, eventually send you out on the other missions, so the Sliver of Silver and with Spring Leaves and all that jazz.
Wow.
So the way these books work is, first of all, you build characters in this game. So it's like a role-playing game. But the way you build characters is you pick a race, you pick a class, and then you pick some skills that come from your race and class, and that's it. There's no stats. There's nothing.
Okay.
And the list of skills is like 30 or 40, so you just pick some skills that sound good.
Okay.
Again, this has a lot of similarities to Tales of Arabian Nights. So then you go off on the adventure, and so you're all going together. You can play as a group, and you'll read these big, long, long paragraphs of text. Very well written. Big paragraphs of text. They'll say, go to this, and in the book, there's all sorts of numbers. The numbers go to 4 digits. So you're going around in this book, and you'll get to choices, and it will say, what do you want to do? Go here, go here. So it's like a big choose your own adventure. But sometimes you can only go to one if you have a skill of that type. And there's combat and stuff in the game that happens, and you'll say, oh, you shoot an arrow at the guy? Do you have archery? Then go to this page. And then eventually you'll get to the city. And the first book, that 2 New Roads book we played, was very kind of like you are going down the road, you will get there. The decisions we made changed some things. Once we got to the city, though, we're like, what should we do next? That big map shows up, right? And you say, I'm going to go here. And it will say, okay, you're going to this. You'll go to that location, and it might say, what time of day is it? Then read this paragraph. Or what day is it? Is it your first time here? Go to this paragraph. And there's also another sheet, and you can write all over the books, which if it bothers you, you can photocopy them or whatever.
Right.
But like sometimes it will say mark 03. You just mark it. So later on, it might say, if 03 is marked, go to this paragraph. Knowing that you've met somebody or picked something up.
Yeah.
Man, I love this game. I really do. Z is not as sold on it, and I don't know that Sam is either, because I think there's less combat than he's interested in. We're really all getting into it. If you watch our live playthroughs, we're role-playing it up and everything. I'm playing an 18-year-old kid who is the 16th out of 17 children, eager to please everybody, but totally worldly unwise. Completely. He also has several pet cats, and since Z's character is playing some feline creature, I treat him like a pet cat, which is not taken kindly on by Z's character. Sam's playing a dwarf, which is a surprise to no one, and he hates cats and humans. So we get along really well.
Good.
But it's not really role-playing, right? You don't have to role-play it up. You could just read the stories and make the choices.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really liking it. It takes Tales of Arabian Nights and makes it a cohesive story. So we've played twice now, and each adventure was about 90 minutes. And I think you're going to be able to play through the whole thing. It looks like there's 7 days that you're in the town. And then there's 5 other booklets. So if I add those together and say there's 12 times another 90 minutes each, that's pretty good.
Wow.
I think you might like this one, Eric. I wondered, so one thing I wondered about was like what the background feels, it's in their Terranoth universe or whatever. It's basically generic, fantasy.
Okay.
I wondered like how family appropriate it is, right? And so far, it seems fine. At the very first inn we got to, we were given glasses of milk.
Okay.
However, we did find a tavern called the Drunken Dwarf or something like that.
Okay.
And there, Sam did start a bar brawl, and we did drink heavily, I think. But I haven't seen anything other than that. There's going to be some violence, but I don't know how many deaths there are. Maybe they're coming. Maybe it gets scary.
Right.
Maybe, there's all sorts of things. There's certainly plots and intrigue, and we've met a huge cast of characters.
Huh.
And they do a good job at meeting really, like today, we met a character who insists that gnomes aren't real. Even when talking to a gnome, he was like, no, that's just a really short guy. And the guy's like, I'm a gnome. He's like, yeah, I know you're saying that. Okay, that was an interesting character to meet, right?
Okay.
I really like this, and I think you would love it.
Huh.
I really do. The only thing I can see you having a problem with is that you would want to play this with your family, right?
Yeah.
And there is a lot of reading. Sometimes the paragraphs are like a quarter of a page. And I could see your kids starting to drift off maybe.
Maybe. My eldest would probably hold on, but my youngest would certainly drift off.
And it's not always wall-to-wall action. Sometimes you're just walking around and talking and asking questions and talking about this and that and this and that and this and that. Right. Now, you could get into it because you would read it with all the different voices. Yep. If I was playing this with my kids, I might read everything rather than pass the book around. Okay.
Yeah.
The way the game works is when you're out on an adventure, you each have a token. And when it's time for a decision to be made, when it's you can say, I want to make the decision and flip your token over. And then you read the book and stuff until it's the next decision. And someone else does it. So you all get like equal decisions. Okay. However, if you make a decision, something bad might happen to you specifically. Yeah. Or good.
Huh. Now that sounds fascinating. My only reservation is it's another campaign game, and I have several on my plate right now.
Yeah. You're right. There's definitely that, but this one is also. I don't know if it's a one-off because definitely there is even a slight, and I say slight because I don't want to get you too excited, but there's a slight escape room element to it.
There's what now?
Yeah. Well, we found some clues. And so I spent a long time working on it, and I discovered a hidden message somewhere.
Okay, this is called what again?
Yeah, it's called, oh man, I just forgot the name of it. We've been talking about this. It's Dragonholt, something of Dragonholt. Why can't I remember the name of it? I just was showing it on the thing. Oh, it's sitting here at my screen. Legacy of Dragonholt.
Okay.
Yeah, this is definitely a successor to Tales of Arabian Nights, and it does it really well.
And publisher, and is it out yet?
Publisher's Fantasy Flight Games. And that is a good question onto whether it's out or not yet. I know that it's really, really close. If it's not out yet, it's coming out soon. It is out of stock.
Oh. Okay.
$51 at Cool Stuff. But I really, it's called the Oracle System. And it says the first game to use the Oracle System. Space. Anyhow, folks, if you want to see how it plays, you definitely can go back and watch the live plays. Definitely watch the first one because, yeah, we show you the whole first mission, but it's not spoiling the game that much. And the first mission, you'll get to a paragraph and it'll say, exhausted. This is how exhausted works. And it explains the rules as you play it. The rule book then has like a glossary for you to look everything up in.
Right.
But it teaches you as you play. And you kind of follow this thing. Then if you're never going to play this game, then go watch our playthroughs because we're going to get all sorts of hijinks and see what happens. And Sam is definitely going to make bad choices. But we're having fun, and we're probably going to play the whole campaign live just because we're just getting a kick out of it. But okay. I don't know.
Awesome.
Someone keeps saying that. Someone said, is Eric going to join us in this? At some point, we've thought about maybe Skyping in Eric on the big TV behind us.
Ooh.
The problem is that the internet in that room is not as quick. However, we think we have a workaround.
But then you get the max headroom effect. Well, I move here.
I was just reading about max headroom on the internet, not about the character. I don't care about that nonsense. But about the guy who took over a TV channel with the max headroom mask. And they still don't know who did it or why.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, it's by the way, someone asked, is Dragonholt Legacy like Pandemic Legacy? It is not. I mean, you can write in the books, like I am writing in my books because I'm a jerk. You can write in the books like we have got to this location, we got to this. But even though I'm writing in the books, you can always go on. It's on the back of the books. You can always go and he said and print the stuff offline, so I can just play through it again. It's basically just a record-keeping thing. You don't have to do it. All right. Cruise. So this year, Eric, you brought your wife for the first time
I did.
and almost didn't bring your wife for the first time.
Yes, we didn't actually tell this story in our live podcast on
It's your
stage.
story to tell, not mine.
I know. So we were setting up, and when we were setting up for the cruise, we're not technically guests of the cruise yet. We're visitors on the ship. We actually
Right.
have to leave the ship and then come back to be
It's
official
really annoying,
guests.
but yes.
It is. But this is how it goes. And we actually sign a waiver when we do this that says they're not responsible for anything that happens on the ship at this point. So something happened on the ship at this point. My wife was opening boxes to get ready and sliced her hand with a box cutter. I was not in the room when this happened. I came down. I was going up and down stairs carrying things around, and I saw her getting ushered off by the medic to go to visit the medic on ship. And I was like, oh, okay. I think she'll be fine. She'll be back in an hour or so, and we can continue. And then she disappeared. I didn't see her for several hours, and finally got a text once I was somewhere on the ship that got cell reception that said, "I'm in a cab on the way to the ER. They made me leave the ship because she wasn't a guest of the ship yet. They couldn't treat her on the ship, so she had to go to the emergency room to get stitches. Eventually, 7 stitches, and made it back in time to sail with us. About an hour to spare." But it was a little nerve-wracking while I was registering everyone and enjoying the first few hours before we sailed, not knowing if my wife was going to make it onto the ship. I don't know what the plan would be if she had missed the boat. Like, do you fly to Mexico and meet us there? That
Oh,
seemed
I was just assuming that if she wasn't going to make the boat, you were going to get off.
I was going to get off, which is what I said at first. I hadn't considered any other options, but she made it, and we had a lovely time after that. It was much better after she got on the ship.
Okay, so what did she think of the cruise? Now, your wife is a gamer that she plays with you, but she's not like a heavy gamer these days.
She's a social gamer. She likes to play with friends, and so isn't as interested in playing the latest greatest stuff. But she was certainly willing to try some new things, and we'd meet someone at dinner, and she'd be happy to sit down and play something. But she also brought her knitting, so she had other things to do while I was playing games more often. I think she had a wonderful time. She enjoyed the experience, the food. We really enjoyed our excursions at Costa Maya and Cozumel. We took a cooking class and just had a terrific time, very relaxing. It was very difficult to get back into the swing of work once we got back. But she had a great time. She's already looking forward to the next one.
It was easy for me to get back in the swing of work, but that's because I worked on the cruise, so it just was kind of like a flow.
Yes.
Man, yeah, I saw that cooking class. That looked fun. So you cooked, and then you got to like play in a little water park thing?
Yes, so the class itself was at a water park. In fact, our bus had both the cooking class group and a group that was just there for the water park. So we pulled up to this place, and they went off to the water slides, and we went to a classroom with a very entertaining chef/host, cooked a 3-course meal, ate the meal, and then they let us loose in the park, and we had free reign of the place until our bus left at 2:00.
Was it crowded?
No, not at all. It was a private beach, plenty of room, plenty of chairs, an open bar. It was really nice. I would highly recommend it. If we were going back to Cozumel, we're not. But if anyone goes to Cozumel, I would certainly recommend this Mexican cooking class. It was great.
Speaking of that, small advertisement aside here, our cruise, we're not doing a cruise in 2018. We're almost. We're doing it in 2019 in February.
Yes.
We're still working on all the details. We already have the boat is 2/3 full from people in previous years. We're going to open up to everybody else soon, but just keep an eye out. We will announce it, okay? It's going to be going to Jamaica and Haiti, and so that we're looking forward to that. And they're changing the ship. Did you read about that?
I heard they're upgrading. They're putting in an escape room, which I think is going to be booked solid when
That's what I said. When there's gamers there will never be a free moment. A laser tag. They're adding a free fish and chips restaurant. A Japanese restaurant. You pay for that. Water slides, which my kids are going to love. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Now the thing about the cruise, and it's hard for some people to understand. There's only a few people I met on the boat. Very few people who were like, must game 24/7.
Yeah.
I didn't meet hardly anyone like that. I mean, I guess there were some people, and you know what? If that's your thing,
You can do it.
Got it. You
Yeah.
can go in there and you can game till the cows come home. However, what makes this such a unique thing is you will go and you'll game a few times, and then you'll go watch a show, and then you'll go on an excursion, or you can go to excursion all day long for all you care, and then come back and game at night, and then spend time eating. And it's really cool because you eat with other board gamers who are across the board extremely nice and fun, and you don't even talk about board games half the time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you go on a cruise ship, they usually sit you at a table with some people, and you can get to know these people, and they're nice or not nice or whatever.
Right.
But you're with those people, and when you first meet them, what do you talk about? The cool thing about eating with board gamers is when you sit there, you have something in common. If nothing else, you can talk about how annoying Tom Vassell is.
I mean, I did.
That was Eric's opening line.
No, we'd sit down. Steph and I usually sat in the general area, but we always sat with different people at our table each night. And you could always ask, where did you go today? Did you make it off the ship on the days that we were at port? We can ask about what have you been playing? What are you still looking to play? We would often leave dinner with plans to play something in the evening.
Speaking of which, not speaking of which, but back earlier you talked about you did a cooking thing. So someone who's watching wants to know, what did you cook?
Let's see. We had grouper, which was in a tamarind sauce, and we had caramelized plantains.
Wait, it was in a tamarind sauce?
A tamarind sauce. It was.
Have you even had tamarind?
Yeah, good.
Tamarind is like one of the best fruits ever.
It
flavor
makes a good sauce. Caramelized plantains with a chocolate and tequila sauce, and then there was I'm forgetting a sopa. Yeah, sopa is what it's called. It's a tortilla, but then it's formed into a bowl, and we put shrimp in there with a red tomato sauce.
Man, that sounds amazing.
It was fantastic. And, it was tasty, and we made it.
Right. So that's another thing, I guess. I mean, we get joked about all the time how much we talk about food. When we say we, I mean me.
Yes.
And I have been eating almost salad. I just like to point that out since we got off the boat.
Yeah.
For like a week here, I've been eating no sweets. Today was my wife's birthday, and I didn't even eat the cake.
Wow. Well done.
Okay. But that's because on the cruise, you can just eat like forever.
Yes.
You go to the main dining room, which I recommend. They got buffets and stuff, but you go to the main dining room and they come up and they serve you. It's like top tier service. And they come up and they'll be like, they give you a menu and has appetizers and main courses. And so the very first day I was like, I want these 4 appetizers and these 2 main courses. and they don't judge you, at least openly, about it.
We had a server who his answer to anything you asked for was, why not? So you're like, I'd like this and this. Why not? I'd like this dessert. Why not? He would come and bring another plate of some of the most popular entrees at the table and say, I have an extra. Who wants one? Why not?
Yes, they were really good at doing that too. If I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'm like, I really like this. And I'm eating, and all of a sudden another one magically
one shows up.
I'm like, what? And so anyhow, but that's a really neat thing. And even if you don't want to go to these big meals, there's just food on the ship. You can just go grab food to eat it. And that was a good time. The games. Now, we don't have the biggest gaming library.
No, you can only bring so many on.
Right, but I was extremely happy with it.
Yeah.
We had all the hot games from Essen, and we also had just a lot of really good games. It wasn't a library you're like, and pick one. They were all good, in my opinion. But I also think a collectively good opinion, too. I watch very carefully to see what kind of games people like, and whether I like it or not, I'm going to bring games people like.
Yeah.
So I was very happy with that. It was really easy to check games in and out, and there was definitely people playing games all over that ship.
Yes. I didn't venture out as much as I probably should have. I've gamed mostly in the conference room. That's our largest gaming space, but we had space up in an observation lounge at one of the nightclubs. We had one of the dining halls, or one of the main dining rooms. We had a floor of that was being used for our games. it was very neat to be so spread out.
And Scott Nicholson came and ran a game designing thing in that dining area. So he had like 30 tables and people were there and he was teaching. And Panda came and gave a bunch of pieces for everybody to mess with and play with. It was just a really neat. I was just super excited about the whole thing. I really was. I had a great time and it seemed like almost everyone had a good time as far as I could tell. The swag bags we gave out was a good chunk of games.
I think we learned lessons from last year. Registration moved a whole lot faster this year. I think we were a little better organized at dealing with any issues that came up. And I think generally it went very, very well.
Yeah. So overall, it was, we'll do it again. And in fact, if we fill this cruise up, we'll do 2 a year.
Ooh.
You know, we'll maybe not everybody. There comes a point where you're like, too many cruises.
I haven't reached that point yet.
Okay, let me ask you this. I know you're going to come in the next one. Is your wife going to come back?
She wants to, yes. Yeah, although she'd like a little bit less stabbing. That's her goal.
That was
Less
self-stabbing. I like to point that out.
It was just a little bit of stabbing.
Would you ever, like in the future, consider bringing your kids, or do you like not having the kids? I don't mean this in a negative way, but I mean, obviously, we all like to get away from our kids once in a while.
Right. I think we would probably, at least for the next one, do it without the kids as well. We kept looking at areas of the ship and saying, you know, if we were with the kids, this would be a very different vacation. We would be hanging out at this area of the ship a lot, or we would be doing this style of excursion a lot. It just would be a very different vacation, and I think we appreciate getting the chance to do just the adults.
But what's cool too is if you can bring your kids, and like my kids, I would bring them. The teenagers, whatever, they just went off and did whatever they were doing. But the younger kids, they went to this kids area, and you can leave them there for a good chunk of the day.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Please take us back to the kids area. We want to go to the kids area. I want to go to the kids area. I want to go to the kids area." That was great. Other kids would show up and play games. You know, my kids are like, games.
Yeah, I
We're
can do
on
that
vacation. So
yeah.
Either way, I was glad that you guys were able to come. All right, folks, we'll take some quick questions. Let's see here. Someone says, what's the difference between a regular passenger and a Dice Tower passenger? Well, the Dice Tower passenger had access to our gaming areas. We had 2 areas that were specifically for Dice Tower people only to play games and come in and play games. Dice Tower passengers also got a $50 credit for their room, which they were able to use and do things. And we had a section, like I said, for dinner. So you weren't at the same tables. You could just go eat anywhere with Dice Tower people, but mostly access to the gaming library.
Right.
Oh, you also got a swag bag full of games, which I think a couple $100 worth of games, you think?
Sure. Yes.
It felt like it.
Yeah, like 10 games in there, right?
There was a lot of games in there. What's the story inside joke behind the whole shut the door phrase videos? Years ago, a decade ago, a kid came in when I was doing a video. I said, shut the door. I forgot to edit that out. So now we just keep saying it. Because I didn't want to admit I had made a mistake. Eric and the other guys know that if something happens and I sit there and go, maybe we can do something with this. I'll try to think of a way to run something into the ground.
Rather than redoing it entirely, yes.
Eric, I don't know how to pronounce this. Haulotte. It looks like Holot.
Holot.
Holot. Someone wants to know if you're the voice of them.
I am. Yes.
They said they thought they heard your tones during a sales meeting last week.
Yes, yeah. They make forklifts, and I've done several of those sales videos for.
Do you do them at all anymore? Or are you done with that now?
No, I still do. I keep toying with getting rid of the corporate stuff, but it's good money. It's usually quick. What I don't want to do anymore is like multiple hours of corporate training, scrum meetings and stuff like that. I don't want to do that.
Any thoughts of doing a different ship in the future? My wife and I love the cruise, but we'll likely do a separate cruise just to check out a new ship. Now, I mean, maybe. But the reason we're doing the same ship is, first of all, if you're coming for the ship, you're probably not coming for the reasons that we're doing this cruise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're looking for a different ship, then that's fine. But first of all, the Independence sounds like it's going to be a very different ship next year anyway. They're literally remodeling a good chunk of it.
Yeah.
Secondly, they change the shows. They change different things in the ship from time to time. And thirdly, I'm really there to play games and see the ports. We're going to different ports. We are going to have different games, different people. There's going to be new things on the ships. I think it's going to be a very different experience. And you know what? Even if it wasn't, I would go again. I would do back-to-back cruises. That's how much fun I have.
Yeah.
So, but also we know the ship, and once we know the ship, it's a whole lot better to
True.
suss out where different things are going to be.
Yeah. I heard Jason had looked at some of the other ships, and it was harder to get large gaming space on some of the other ship models.
This is our biggest problem with the cruise ships in general. However, we are toying with the idea of getting a whole ship. Okay, so here's the benefits of a whole ship. So you were on the ship, right?
Yes.
So with a whole ship, we can do whatever we want. We have to leave open their money-making stuff. But you know that big mall walkway?
Yeah.
With all those stores? We can clear those stores out and put in other stores. So there could be like a cool stuff store.
What?
And a broken token store. And, you know, the stores there. We could make the shows, like we could have lots of Dice Tower shows. We could take over the different shows. We could just cancel shows, or we could, we could keep the shows too. But we would have the whole ship. We could decide when dinner times were and all kinds of stuff. It would be flying a Dice Tower flag. It would have Dice Tower painted on the side of the ship.
What?
Yes, it's just a lot of money, right, to do this. And we would need to get a lot of people to do it. But I can see it.
Well,
I can see it. Right?
Well, sure.
No, I'm not saying I can see it. I can see it in the distance. This is not like an impossible dream. I think we could pull it off someday.
That would be insane.
It would be fun. Really insane. And I would definitely wear a captain's hat. Did Eric figure out unpacking Gloomhaven by now?
Okay, so I opened it up, and it just this mound of cardboard. And what really blew me away is that there's no storage built in to this game. Like there's a little bit of a
get the Meeple Realty or the Broken Token one.
I think that's what I need to do. Those are expensive though, and I wasn't ready for the fact. I was intending to just open it up and start punching stuff, and I'm used to being able to maybe punch and look at the first couple pages of the rule book and know what generally I'm supposed to put in what bags, and have a sense of how the whole thing's supposed to be organized. You can't do that with this game. There's too much stuff. You actually need to have a game plan in how you attack this. And I was trying to do this while I was watching TV. No, you need to have your full attention on this box, and I put it away. I'm not ready to take it apart yet. No. The answer is no. I appreciate all the folks on Twitter. I sort of said help, and people pointed me to various threads on Board Game Geek where folks have said you need to unpack them in this order, and here's how I organize it. And it's like buying 4 Plano boxes if you're going to go with some methods, or you go with the Broken Token organizer, and which may be the route I go.
Someone asked a question on what the cost of the cruise can be. We don't have actual final costs yet, but it's probably $12.99 for an inside room. That's 2 people. $14.99 for an ocean view, and $18.99 for a balcony. Now, okay, that's not set in stone. That could change. Someone says, what do you guys have to do to make promo cards for games? Do you need permission, or what's the process like?
I'm sure we need permission.
We don't make promo cards, period. Companies give us the cards. They make them for their own game. We have never made a promo card for a game on our own. I guess if I made some sort of fun item for a game, I could hand it out to people. But I would never do it in exchange for anything. Because I could that borders on illegal. Maybe no, I guess not illegal. Because like Broken Token makes inserts and stuff for games, you don't have to get permission. But I would not do it. All right, just a couple more questions, then we're going to shut down. Let's see here. Do Do you even have time to play leisurely without making a video about it? Yeah, sometimes, but yeah, I like doing the same thing. Everyone's just basically talking about the whole ship of games. Any potential for a 7-day cruise instead of 5-day? There is potential for that, but we did a survey asking people who already went on the cruises like what they would like to see in the future, and the 7-day cruise got the least amount of people interested for sure. I'm looking at the stats right here, and the average, I had a weighted average, and it was 2.66 as opposed to 3.53. It was a whole point lower. And well, it looks like actually there is. Oh, the morning wake up for the ship would be the Dice Tower theme. Either that or Jason would sing you all awake.
No.
The other night, me and Jason, or was last night actually, we were playing some new games, and there was a Les Mis game, and I was like, oh, I know where this is going. And Jason was like, yes! And every time a new character came out, he would sing the song to the one player threatened to leave.
Nice.
He also didn't win too. All right. So anyhow, that's pretty much all the time we got for today, folks. We try to keep these to being about an hour exactly because, well, first of all, it's my wife's birthday. So I should go celebrate that with her. But secondly, because, we want you to come back next week. Thank you guys for watching this. In 2 weeks. What is wrong with me?
Because you're planning to make this a weekly show is what you're doing. And
no, I'm not. I'm not planning to make this a weekly show.
This is how he tells me, folks.
All right. Well, let's get this done. So we'll end here. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Eric Summerer.
And you've been watching The Dice Tower tonight.
Thanks for watching. Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. If all goes well, Tom and I will see you in 2 weeks for another installment. Our show is supported by viewers like you. Thank you. Dice Tower Tonight is produced by Tom and me, with assistance from Derek Porter and Rob Searing. Gangsters muscling in on Al Capone's South Side territory, provided by Raiders from the North. See? Timothy Pinkham composed our theme, and hosting is provided by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games at great prices at coolstuffinc.com. Give us your feedback on the Dice Tower Guild at Board Game Geek on Facebook or Twitter, or by emailing us at dicetower@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit the other shows in the Dice Tower Network. Find something new at dicetowernetwork.com. Until next time, from all of us at the Dice Tower, have fun.
Have fun gaming. Your wife should leave a comment on the cruise, like, where you leave like feedback and it say it was 4 stars. It was amazing except for the knifing. And that's it. Just say that,
That's all. No explanation whatsoever. They did know her when she went back and had to get back on the ship. Everyone on the check-in desk knew who she was. Oh, we're so glad you've made it. So she was a celebrity.
Yay.